how could anybody do something like that? So when you mentioned the bullfight, and you think about bringing a little girl to an event where a bull dies in the end, and stabbed by a sword through the neck, and you think, what was he thinking that he would take you to something like that? And in Esther's case, when she took you to Oscar de la Renta and did that whole scene that happened there, and that's a case where you don't have photographs of it, but you have such a sharp storytelling memory of it. And I just want to throw in one other thing. When I was talking with Peter and David, I was saying that I have stories I've been telling my whole life that are mostly about something funny that happened. And over the years, I've kind of honed them so that they get funnier and funnier until you get to a point where you say, wait a minute, did that really happen? And Peter said the same thing about himself, that he read his first book, Confessions of an Ivy League Bookie, and he started realizing when he reread it just recently, he said, wait a minute, I don't remember that quite happening that way, and got fuzzy about what the details were. So
Ray, if you're asking whether Oscar de la Renta really happened the way I wrote it, the answer is yes. I didn't tell that story over and over again and make it funnier each time. Actually, when I wrote it for the first time, and I told it for the first time. So I think, I can't speak for Sue, but I know in my case, these weren't stories that I repeated. They were stories being told for the first time.
Well, I had, some of the stories were stories that my dad told all the time, okay? Phrases or famous Susan sentences, famous statements that I made. I do not like this man, I would say to my dad, talking about the picador, and he would always say it in those terms. I do not like this man. My main takeaway is that from the memories is that revisiting these memories, I was surprised at how normal they seemed to me at the time and during my life. For example, the bullfight. I never questioned my dad. It wasn't until a few people asked me, how could he take you to a bullfight? And I sort of went like, oh, really? You think so? It was something that was so ingrained. It was part of my life. It was like, I used to go to the bullfights with Dad. I loved going to the bullfights. I never really thought about it. And when I wrote about it, I realized, my God, this is such a violent scene. And I was 4, maybe 5, but I was probably around 4 years old the first time I went. So I'm surprised I wasn't traumatized for the rest of my life. And I kept going to the bullfights. And I always thought that I loved them, I always thought I loved them.
Loved being with him. And
I loved being with him. That was it.
He would take you, whatever you would do was an opportunity to be with him. And I think that's why it overshadowed whether it was scary or not for you.